Hey there, fellow nature wanderers. If you're like me, you love spending time outdoors, breathing in that fresh air and connecting with the natural world. But at home, have you ever thought about what's in the products you use every single day? That's why I'm excited to share Apple Valley Natural Soap with you. Their handcrafted all-natural soaps are made with organic ingredients, essential oils, and no harsh chemicals. Awesome! So they're not only great for your skin, but they're safe for the planet. And they don't just stop at soap. Apple Valley Natural Soap also carries a full line of natural skincare products, including shampoos, body butters, facial bars, and more. All designed to nourish your skin without synthetic ingredients. You can't beat that. That's just awesome. Whether you're hiking in the woods or just winding down after a long day, their products bring a little bit of nature right into your home. And the best part? By supporting Apple Valley Natural Soap through The Nature Wanderer, you're also supporting this podcast. Just head to the show notes and click on the link for Apple Valley Natural Soap. So go ahead, treat yourself and the environment to something better. Your skin and Mother Nature will thank you. Now let's get on with our adventure. Hello, fellow wanderers. Paul here. Welcome to the podcast. And today I'm out in nature, enjoying this spring-like day. Yeah, we've had a kind of a earlier warm-up this year, and the snow is pretty much gone. If you don't live in Western New York, you know how exciting this is because, wow, it's been a long winter this year. It just seems like it's been a lot of up and down temperatures this spring, but it's also been a lot of cold days. Yeah, not so much snow. I mean, beginning of the year we did have a lot of snow, but then it just kind of mellowed out. Now we just had cold temperatures. It was brutal throughout January and February. It just seems so cold here in Western New York. So yeah, as soon as we get that nice warm day and the sun's out, it's like, yeah, I'm just itching to get out hiking. And we find that nice area that doesn't have a lot of snow on the trails anymore. We're out there right away, and we're certainly not alone now. It's like everyone just migrates to the parks as soon as you get that first warm day. But that's Western New York for you. And so that's where I am today. At one of our local county parks, Chestnut Ridge, right around the corner from where I live now. You're probably going to get a lot of podcasts from here this year. And the main reason is because, well, it's close. And I remember being here when I was a kid, when I was younger. I shouldn't say a kid, but as a teenager, I came here quite often. And I never really enjoyed the park. I mean, at that age, being a teenager, of course it's just hanging out with friends, partying, having fun, playing frisbee, playing bocce ball, other sports, and you never really explored nature. It's like, yeah, we're out in nature, but didn't really explore nature. Didn't really get it at that point in my life. So I didn't get to explore this park. Now that I live close, my wife and I were out a couple days ago, and we were just here at Chestnut Ridge exploring the park. And we took a road I'd never been on. Like I said, when I was a teenager, I was here not real often, but once in a while, and I thought I knew this park, but I don't. We were on a road I had never been on, and we were just going for a walk. And it's like, wow, beautiful woods here. I got to get out and explore this park. I got to get to know it better. I mean, there's so many like creeks running through it. There's lots of woods, some open field. And it's like, yeah. So anyhow, you're going to get a lot of episodes from here this summer because I'm really going to get over here and explore it. Because I need to get out into the woods, get out into nature and see what's out here. So that's what I'm doing today. A little bit of exploring, but it's also springtime, and I want to talk a little bit about spring. Spring is in the air. Yeah, all the signs of spring are here. We've got flowers thinking about coming up. I've seen a couple of buds kind of poking their way through the ground. You do get a few real early spring ephemerals, as we call them. Spring ephemerals are basically the flowers who come up early, grab that sunlight, grab that energy before the leaves come out on the trees, because once the leaves come out on the trees, then, well, basically they get no sun. The bigger trees are hogging all the sunlight. So whatever is down below them doesn't get the sun. So they got to get up early, grab that early sunshine, get their energy stored in the ground, and that way they can, live another year. So we call those guys the spring ephemerals. So the spring ephemerals are starting to come up. They've got their cues from nature that, hey, it's time to break through. You may hear some water in the background here. Yeah, the water is flowing because of all that snow melted. So there's just a few mounds where they were piled up. There's a few mounds left, but most of the snow has melted already. And of course, as that snow melts, where's all that water going to go? Down to the lowest point, yeah, down into the streams, replenishing the streams with that fresh water. Great time if you ever are, if you're a waterfall person, if you love seeing waterfalls, this is the time of year to get out. Yeah, all the snow is filling up the streams and they're flowing over those waterfalls. I go to these waterfalls in the middle of summer and they're like, okay, there's supposed to be a waterfall here. It's dry as could be. But this is the time of year. All that water in the streams and the rivers. So, but anyhow, another sign of spring there. This episode is going to be released after the spring equinox. So, spring is here. Equal days, equal nights, and now the days are getting longer. So we're going to get longer and longer days. And that's one of the things that is a cue for all the plants and the animals to start waking up out of their hibernation. Winter, a lot of people I know don't like winter. I don't like winter anymore. I used to when I was younger, but now I don't like the cold. Yeah, I don't mind the snow so much. I mean, I could do without it, but I don't mind it so much. It's the cold. And this winter, like I said, tough winter. It's so cold. When it gets this cold, I mean, we're talking below 20. I have a hard time getting outside and hiking. I mean, I'm always telling everyone not to hibernate, but when it's that cold, it's really tough to stay warm. I was on a mission this winter. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked a lot, but that's all right. I was on a mission this winter to find a pair of gloves that actually held up to Western New York winters. Feel free to, send me messages, email me, whatever. If you have a pair of gloves that you absolutely love, that keep your hands warm, I'd love to hear about them. I mean, I go online and look at all these gloves that say, oh, good in, like sub-zero temperatures. I bought a pair, not cheap, they weren't cheap, but they claimed minus 30. And I'm like, okay, I don't believe that. I mean, I didn't believe it.
I read all the reviews. The reviews were pretty good. I mean, not great, but they were pretty good. I think I only saw one that said that they didn't really keep their hands warm. But most of the reviews were pretty good. So I decided, hey, let's check out these gloves. So I bought a pair out snow blowing my driveway. And I think I was out there for like half an hour. Came back in and my hands were freezing. I thought, well, I don't know. we'll give them a second try. So I went out hiking a few days after that. Now, mind you, these are a brand new pair of gloves. Claimed to be 30 below. But I went out hiking. It was about, I think it was like 25, 30 degrees. I mean, it wasn't bitter cold. A little bit of a breeze, a little bit of a wind. So you did have the wind chill factor as well. But it's like, hey, I've done this before. I've hiked in temperatures like this before and no problem. But these gloves, yeah, they were a problem. I think it was like 10 minutes in and I was starting to feel a little bit chill on my hands. And like half an hour in, my hands were so cold I'd stick them in my pockets with the gloves on. And it's like, no, these are not 30 below gloves. I'm sorry. Maybe for like 5 seconds. I don't mean to harp on it, but I did give the rating a bad review because I look at reviews while I'm buying stuff, especially stuff that I want that's heavy duty for hiking or, so I look for these reviews and I'm looking for good reviews. That usually sells me on a product. Not what the manufacturer is saying, but what the reviews are saying. So anyhow, I wrote a bad review, got a response from the company right away. Got a response from the company right away, and they actually said, oh, those are old ones that we sent you. We have an upgraded model. We'll send those to you free of charge. So I said, okay, I'll try them. Oh, but you need to take your review down. So I told him, I said, I'm not taking the review down until I try the new updated, and I'm doing air quotes when I say that, updated pair of gloves. And so I said, once I get them and I try them, if they're good, I will modify my review. I never said I'd take it down. I said I'd modify it. So, and I was thinking, yeah, I can take it down if I, really like this updated pair of gloves. So they did send them. It took a long time for them to send them, but finally got them in the mail. And I tried them, and I kept thinking they're just stalling. They're waiting for the temperatures to warm up, so I can't try them. So what happened was perfect timing. We were getting up and down temperatures, and the day I received them, the next day it got down to I think it was the low 30s, may have been the upper 20s. And I thought, well, this is great. I'm up for a hike. Put the gloves on, went for a hike. A couple days after I got these new updated version of the gloves, took them outside, and nope, same thing. It's like, these are not updated. They're different color. Didn't even like the color, but anyhow, didn't want to get sidetracked on these gloves, but it irked me. So if anyone knows, if you can hear the birds, yeah, another sign of spring. Got to slow down here, but if anyone knows of any really good gloves, let me know. I have to handle 20-degree temperatures for a long period of time, at least an hour. So anyhow, back to signs of spring, and how animals know. How they know it's time to wake up, and the plants too, not just animals. And it's all about, there are actually several factors that will determine, or I shouldn't say determine, but signals these animals that, hey, Here we go. And one of them, like I was mentioning before I went on my rant about gloves, which I apologize for, but one of those things is the length of day. So the days are getting longer, and along with that days getting longer, you get more sunshine, warmer temperatures. You get the warmth starting to come in, and it also brings more rain because you get these fronts coming through, which usually brings in moisture with those fronts. So you've got this warm front moving in, warmer temperatures, the earth starts warming up. Now here in western New York, we have the frost line. So essentially, if you're digging a hole in the ground to maybe put a foundation in or put some posts for an outbuilding or something, you need to go at least 3 feet. I say at least because I used to go 3 feet and things heaved anyhow. So it's basically 4 feet here in western New York. That's below frost line. So even now, like I said, a little bit of snow on the ground, temperatures are warming up. It's early spring. I can walk on the lawn, on the grass here, and it's pretty solid. If I poked a rod into the ground, I'm going to need a mallet to get it to go very deep, because just the top layer is defrosting right now. It's starting to get soft, starting to get a little muddy. Oh, yeah, my wife hates this season. The dogs are putting all that mud out and bringing it into the house. So anyhow, it's just the top layer right now that has defrosted. Oh, look at that. I'm at a big old, looks like a maple tree here. Yep, this is a big old maple, sugar maple, I believe. Trying to look at the buds, which we'll talk about in a second, but at the base of this tree I'm standing at, I'm going to get a little closer to it. At the base of this tree, you've got all these shavings. I'm looking up to see where they're coming from. I don't see it quite yet. I think I hear a helicopter coming over. Oh, there it is. Oh, wow. Really been excavating the upper section of this tree. I'm going to see if I can... Oh, wow, yeah. Went around the tree and there's like 4 holes. 2 lower ones are kind of smaller, roundish, but then there's a really big oval hole above that, and another hole above that. And you can see the branch above that. It looks pretty dead. I can't get close enough to really tell. I mean, there's still live parts to it, but I can see one part doesn't have any bark on it, which means it is dead there. So, woodpecker, obviously. And because of that oval and the size of the hole, I'm going to say it's a pileated, or you can say pileated woodpecker. I'm always asked which is right. Pileated, pileated, potato, it doesn't really matter. However you want to pronounce it. All my life I've pronounced it pileated woodpecker. And I had people pronouncing it pileated, and someone asked me once, it's like, well, which is correct? So, I don't know. I looked it up, and even all the experts that I've looked at, all the sources, they all say the same thing. It can go either way. Yeah, however you want to pronounce it. Pileated or pileated. But anyhow, he's been excavating, and it looks pretty fresh, and that's usually another sign that, hey, spring is right around the corner here. Yeah, it's right around the corner. The woodpeckers are starting to make cavities for nesting. I mean, they'll spend the winter pecking at trees. They're one of the species that sticks around here in western New York, and that's because they can get at their food. A lot of birds in western New York migrate because it's too cold here for them. So they head south where they can get more food. Not about cold, it's about availability of food. You don't have food, you go hungry, you starve to death. So that's why birds head south where it's warmer, they can find their food. So the birds are starting to come back. They're starting to get more active. They're starting to look for nest sites. I just had to go out the other day and get a bird house. New property, new house. I've been planning all winter. Oh yeah, I got to build a bluebird house. Good habitat for them. Yeah. So I was going to put up a bluebird house, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off. And it was cold in my garage. I didn't want to sit out there making a bird house. But I was out teaching, and my wife sent me a text message saying, I just saw 2 bluebirds at our house. So it's like, oh no. It's like I didn't get the bluebird box up. So I had to stop at the store and buy a bluebird box. I mean, they're there. They're scouting out, and I should have known. They're usually back in February looking for a good nest site. And then females will come back later. But the males are back. And some bluebirds, I mean, they stick around all winter, but the ones who didn't migrated, yeah, the males are back already looking for a nest site. So I've got my nest box up. Hopefully I get a bluebird nesting in it. So yeah, the birds are more active this time of year, trying to get their nest sites ready, looking for mates. A little bit early. They're still coming back. I have been seeing more and more birds. Got a little excited. I saw a red-winged blackbird just the other day, and that's another one of my key signs of spring. And once again, I got sidetracked again, and I apologize, but you know how I work. If I got something to talk about, I'm going to talk about it. So let's get back to how these animals know that it's springtime. How these trees, how the, birds, everybody knows it's springtime. It's time for renewal, which is what a lot of people look at the equinox as springtime. A time of renewal, time to refresh. So not just nature, if you want to bring that into your own life, I always try to at spring. It's like spent the whole winter cold, semi-hibernating. I don't hibernate, I semi-hibernate, but it's time to get out and start exploring again, starting to renew. And I don't really do New Year's resolutions. You probably know that because I mentioned it in another podcast, but to me, springtime is actually my New Year's. This is the time for me to start fresh, to reevaluate things, see how things are going, maybe start new adventures, maybe change habits, maybe, start to, this is when I start my hiking so it's a time for renewal, and nature is the same way. And the things that bring this on, like I was saying, is length of day and also temperature, warming of the ground. But there's more to it. There's also, depending on, whether it's a bird, a mammal, a tree, a flower trying to poke its way through the ground. They're getting their cues from the warmth of the ground. They can't see the light, the plants that are coming up. The trees, they're starting to get the sunlight, they're feeling the warmth. They know it's time to come out of their hibernation, their long winter sleep. And the birds, they just know it's time to come back. But how? They're down south. It's warm. Yeah, sure, the days are getting longer, but the temperatures are basically staying the same. It's been the same temperature, and maybe a little bit difference, but they're down in places where it's been warm all winter. So how do they know to come back? Well, that's where the other factor kicks in, and that's instinct. Yeah, they have this built-in, inherited instinct. I'm going to stop for a second here. The stream of, oh, did you smell that? Of course you didn't. This is a podcast. You can't smell it. Even if it was a video, you couldn't smell it, but oh yeah, I can smell it. I can smell spring. The rotting leaves, the decaying leaves in the woods, I'm going to walk away from the pond so that you can, or the creek so that you can hear me better. So yes, many animals also go by a built-in instinct. They just know. It's like an internal clock that tells them, hey, spring is here. It's warm back up north. That's where I lay my eggs. That's where I find a mate. Not down here. It's too crowded around here because everyone came south. It's like spring break, crowded, people everywhere. But in this case, animals everywhere. So they've got their nesting habitat up here in the northern climate. So they come back up north here, and that's where they breed. And they know it by this built-in instinct that they were taught, and basically is hereditary. It's built into them. Their parents taught them. It's like, okay, when you start feeling this feeling, head up north. At least that's what scientists believe. So that's the other factor. And with trees, you may think, well, yeah, the trees don't have a built-in instinct. They don't think. Oh, listen to my episode about the trees in the forest. They can communicate. Trees do communicate. Trees do, in a loose way. I don't know. Well, I'm not going to get into it, but they do kind of think. They know. They actually have chemical cues. So there's chemicals in the soil and the roots that tell them, hey, spring's here. Time to start waking up. And I can tell another sign of spring here, talking about trees, if you look at the trees in your yard. I mean, you had all winter long. These trees are without leaves, without color. Everything's dull, bro. I mean, even right now, it's early spring for me here. And there's no leaves on the trees yet. There's very little green. Everything is still brown and kind of dead looking. But once again, they're dormant. How do you tell they didn't die over the winter? Look for the buds. Buds on a tree. Buds on a vine, on the leaves. I got grapevines right here. Take a look at them. Yeah, see, I can tell that part's dead, but I can see some that has a little bit of red on it. Oh yeah, it's got buds. So that's alive. It's got buds. What are buds? It's a leaf. That's what the leaf is going to come out of. So the tree or the plant has spent the fall basically grabbing the last bit of energy. And before the cold weather comes and they go to sleep, they grab that last bit of energy from the sun and they put all that energy into building buds. Building a leaf. It's kind of a compacted mini leaf that's encased in this shell. And that way, in the springtime, if you think about it, they've been sleeping all winter long. All their energy has been down in the roots. Now it's time to wake up. Time to get all that energy back up, open up these leaves. And you're not talking one or two leaves, you're talking thousands, hundreds of leaves. Depending on the size of the tree, of course. All these leaves have to open up, burst open. If you have to use a lot of energy to do that, to build a leaf and get it open, and wow, all that energy, that's a lot that it's going to take. So instead, they build that leaf in the fall. And then they have to use very little energy to open them up. That's what a bud is. It's a compacted leaf. And then springtime comes, xylem and phloem. Okay, that's the xylem upwards, phloem downwards. So the xylem is basically pulling all the energy that's been stored, the nutrients that's been stored down in the soil, up through these veins underneath the bark. And it goes up to the branches, goes to those buds, and starts pushing them open. So it doesn't take as much energy. That's also this time of year is when we get the maple syrup. And we get that maple syrup because xylem and phloem, the sap is flowing. So all of that is going on too. And as I'm looking at the trees around me, I mean, I'm going to go up to this one, but I really didn't have to because I could see them from a distance. Yeah. I mean, the buds are just swollen right now. They're ready to just pop. You know? I mean, they don't really pop, but you know what I mean. They're ready to open. And they're getting that little bit of phloem coming up, and it's starting to get the buds swollen so that they can just burst that shell open and start to form the leaf. And then the leaf will slowly grow from that small little leaf that pops out of the bud. As I was coming here to the park, I actually saw a lot of trees, maple trees that were tapped. Yeah, so the maple sugaring's going on here in western New York already, which I used to do at my old house, but my new house, there's only 2 maple trees on the property. They're not very big, and I also don't have time this year to do it. So maybe in the future I'll get back into maple sugaring, because I did enjoy it. It was a nice way to just get out and be with nature for a while. So that's going on too, the maple sugaring, another sign of spring, but that's a human sign. I want to talk about the nature signs. So that's another telltale sign that spring is here. Those swollen buds. Haven't seen any green yet, but that's coming. Once those buds start swelling, it doesn't take long. Yeah, we'll be seeing that great sudden greenness when the leaves come out. So I'd like to kind of circle back to birds a little bit. I know I talked about their migration and signals that let them know it's time to come back to the north, and that's a sign of spring for me. But there's other signs that the birds are giving me as well. One thing is nesting habits, mating habits, courtship habits. So you start seeing the birds starting to pair up. I saw some red-tailed hawks last week that were circling together. They had already paired up. They're ready for mating season. The great horned owls are already, on the nest this time of year. All these things, the habits that I'm watching the birds go through, carrying nesting material. I saw a crow yesterday. He was carrying something in his mouth, something big, and it wasn't food. It looked like a stick or something. So he's out there, or she is out there, working on the nest, trying to get the nest ready for mating, for getting a mate and raising a family. So a lot of the birds, I've noticed they started doing that, but it's also the bird song. You start hearing more bird song. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm waiting to hear the to me, that's like, yep, it's spring. That's the black-capped chickadee. That's their mating call. Normally when they're at my feeders, they're just chickadee-dee-dee-dee, chickadee-dee-dee-dee. But when they start doing that whistling, they're basically calling to a mate. So these are other signs that I start seeing that, to me, means spring is here. Spring is here. The birds are getting ready for springtime. They're, gathering nesting material, looking for mates. All of these things are what they do in the spring. So they're all getting ready for that time of year. Now, their hormones and the temperatures and all that stuff that I mentioned earlier, that's what's cueing them in, letting them know, okay, it's time. It's time to get ready for raising a family. And many of the birds, they're... Sorry for the pause. Heard a bird above me. I was trying to figure out who it was. A lot of them are, coming back because the food's available here as well. Yes, this is their nesting habitat, nesting territory. This is where they come to nest and raise a family, but it's also availability of food. you have all that food available here now because the insects are starting to come out of their hibernation. I have seen some insects, not a lot, but I've seen a few more insects than usual. So they're starting to come out of their hibernation. The birds, they know it. They're coming up and eating them all. No, well, not all of them, I know, but you know what I mean. So all of these things are an indicator to me that spring is in the air. I mean, I don't need the warm weather to tell me. I mean, it does let me know, but you know, it's the birds and other signs. So I didn't mention migration earlier, and I don't think I mentioned how the birds use their magnetic fields of the earth to indicate to them how to get back. That's always been an amazing thing to me. How do they know? I mean, they have done a lot of studies, and they found that birds migrate by using different keys, like landmarks, but they also use the Earth's magnetic field. I mean, some birds migrate at nighttime. It's safer. So I just wanted to add that little bit about the birds because I was starting to see all these birds showing signs of spring, so I wanted to mention it. Now, the last thing I want to talk about today is phonology. And you may be wondering, what on earth is phonology? Normally, if you were one of my students or my own kids when they were younger, I would have told you, look it up. But I'm not going to do that to you. I will tell you. I always looked when the young ones would look it up because they usually find out more that way. If they just get an answer from me, it's like, okay, I'm done. And they go about with something else. But if they look it up, they usually discover other things besides what they were looking up. And so it kind of sends them on a trail of curiosity, that trail to different things, different aspects of nature. And so that's why I won't do that to you, though. I will tell you what phonology is. Phonology is essentially the study of seasonal changes. So spring and fall, what's happening, what are the temperatures doing, are things changing over time, and are the buds, on the trees, starting to get plump earlier. Got a woodpecker. Sounds like a red belly. Are they... Wow, I just lost my train of thought. Are the buds, getting plump earlier in the year? Are the trees leafing out earlier? Are the animals nesting earlier? Are the insects, coming out of their hibernation earlier? What's going on? What's going on in nature? And they correlate these things with the temperatures to see if, the warmer temperatures coming early, climate change, is that affecting the wildlife and the plants? Or are they adapting to it? Are they able to adapt quick enough? This is what they study with phonology. They're looking at the timing of natural events. Flowers blooming, when are the birds migrating? When are the insects emerging? When are the trees budding? When do the trees lose their leaves in the fall? All these things are being studied by scientists. And that's what we call phonology. Now, why is it important to do this? Well, you're basically tracking climate change in this way. So changes in phonology, or I should say phenological events, changes in phenological events like earlier blooming, maybe later migrations, this can indicate shifts in climate patterns. So this is why they're studying it. But also will tell you ecosystem health. The timing of plant growth and animal behavior affects food chains, and thus the overall ecosystem balance. And even people use it. Yeah, people use it. Farmers, gardeners. They use phonology to determine when is the best time to plant, When's the best time to harvest? You can also predict pest outbreaks. So all these things help people as well. And of course, wildlife conservation. I mean, understanding migration and breeding patterns helps protect the species. So all these things are being studied, and this is why phonology is essential. It does help. And of course, you know me, I'm big on this, citizen science. Yeah, scientists can't be everywhere. I wish everyone was a scientist, but yeah, we need other jobs too. Yeah. So everyone can't be a scientist. Or can they? Yeah, citizen science. If you haven't listened to any of my ramblings on citizen science, or I did a whole episode on citizen science, citizen science is essentially helping scientists. It's average, everyday people like you and I doing studies. We are collecting data for the scientists who can't be everywhere at once. And by collecting this data, they can use this data, as long as it's collected properly, they can use this data to actually help them in their studies, figure out what's going on. I mean, I know some of the citizen science projects I have participated in, such as Frog Watch or the Christmas bird count or the Great Backyard Bird Count. It actually does help scientists. They have used that data to see how quickly things are changing in the environment. You know, they have found birds are moving their territories further and further north as the climate gets warmer. So, I mean, this is stuff that they couldn't do on their own. They need that data from all over. Can you imagine how expensive it would be to hire scientists to go all over and do this data? But anyhow, that's basically what citizen science is. And with phonology, there are citizen science projects. And of course, I would encourage you to participate in these. I'll let you know a few of them here. First of all is Nature's Notebook, which is actually a citizen science project that is sponsored, or I don't know how you would put it, but it's run by the USA National Phonology Network. Who better to run a phonology program? So yeah, they run this program, and it basically tracks plant and animal life cycle changes nationwide, all over the U.S. So if you're interested in that, not just one little aspect, of phonology, but the entire phonology aspect of plants and animals, then this might be one that you may be interested in. Another one is Journey North. Journey North is more about migration patterns, so studying how animals are migrating between the fall, the spring, and they're looking not at just birds. I know as soon as I say migration, you're thinking birds, but no, they're looking at insects too, like butterflies. They want people to report sightings of migrating species like monarchs, robins, birds in general, insects in general. So that's what they want to report, and that's Journey North. I'll put links in the show notes for all of these in case you can't remember the names of them. Project Budburst, if you are a plant person, not so much an animal person, Project Budburst might be a good one for you. Project Budburst focuses on when plants bloom and when they leaf out. And when, got a chickadee there. Not the mating call, just the chickadee-dee-dee. I don't know if you heard that. But anyhow, Project Budburst, when, plants bloom, when they leaf out, when they fruit, and this one is studying all these things for the sake of climate change, seeing how climate change is advancing, how quickly it is, and so they're trying to see, are plants blooming earlier? Are they budding earlier? Are we losing winter? The answer is yes, but they're doing it scientifically, trying to figure all that out. And then there's two of my favorites here. First one is Frog Watch. Frog Watch, I used to be chapter leader of Frog Watch program in a Western New York chapter. I used to lead the chapter, which meant I recruited people to do Frog Watch. I did it on my own. And I promoted it in the Western New York area as well. But when I retired from the nonprofit that I founded and ran for many, many years, when I retired a few years ago from that, I decided that I would drop being the chapter leader, and I handed that off to my volunteers. And I'd still do it. I still do Frog Watch, trying to figure out where I'm going to do it this year. Because, like I said, I moved over the summer. I am now in a residential area instead of being out in the country. That's why I spend so much time now at parks. I'm listening to all the birds. I'm hearing more birds today than I have in a while. But anyhow, so I'm not really sure where I'm going to do Frog Watch because you're monitoring wetlands. I know I do have a few ponds at parks nearby, but you do it in the evening, and I want to make sure it's all right to go to those parks in the evenings. Some parks close as soon as the sun goes down, so I want to make sure I don't get arrested for being in some park monitoring frogs. But Frog Watch is a really interesting program. You're monitoring frogs. It's really simple to do. You just need to get a little training for it, but it is rather easy to do Frog Watch. And you record how the frogs are doing, the amphibian population, and all of that data is used by the scientists, not just to see how the populations are doing, but also to see when they're starting to call. Because frogs call in the springtime. And if you're hearing them later in the year, it means that, hey, winter stuck around longer. But it's really happening where the frogs are being heard much earlier. And that's because climate change. They're starting to come out of their hibernation down at the bottom of the ponds, and they're starting to call much earlier than they used to. And the last one I want to talk about, another one of my favorites, eBird. I've talked about this before during my Christmas bird count and Great Backyard Bird Count episodes and my Citizen Science episode. eBird, I really enjoy it. It's one of the citizen science programs that I participate in quite often. It's really good and essential to participate in eBird. A crow flying overhead. It's essential to do it in the spring and fall. And the reason is because phonologists, is that a word? Yeah, sure. If you're studying phonology, I guess you would be a phonologist. I'll have to look that up. But I'll put a correction if I'm wrong. But phonologists, they want to know, what birds are around in certain areas during the fall. Are they leaving earlier? Are you seeing them year-round, birds that normally aren't around? I remember a Christmas bird count. There's been a couple of times now that I had to fill out an extra report during the Christmas bird count, and the whole reason was because I found a bird that was not common in the area at that time of year. Yeah, they should be in there in the summer, but they should have migrated in the winter time. And it's every time that happens to me, it's always when we have a mild winter. So anyhow, it does help the scientists to figure out climate change, how things are going. So those are the citizen science projects I'd like to let you know about, and I encourage you, please participate in them. That way, scientists, you're helping them. It's a lot of fun too. So it helps you. I know you're wondering, what do you mean it helps me? It helps you too. It does. It's fun to do, and it makes it I don't know. To me, doing citizen science, I do a lot of it to help the scientists, but it's also important to me because it helps me. It helps to relax me. It gets my mind off of other things. It gives me, something to do. So I encourage you, do some of these citizen science projects. And the last thing I want to mention is, hey, get out. Don't hibernate. Spring's here. Enjoy the spring. Enjoy being outdoors. I've got a sweatshirt on because it's not that warm. I don't know if you can hear the birds. Right near a big white pine. I don't see any of them, but I can hear. It's very busy in that white pine. But yeah, it's get outdoors. I have a sweatshirt on, but I'm here basking in the sunlight. Feels so good. Western New York, we're starving for vitamin D. Yeah, we are starving for it. During the winter, I actually I hate taking any type of pill. I don't take medicine. I'll put up the pain before I take an aspirin. Tylenol. Hopefully my wife isn't listening to this. She always corrects me. I don't know the difference between Tylenol, acetaminophen, and ibuprofen. Yeah, to me it's all the same, but I get corrected all the time. She's a retired nurse. Daughter's a PA. Yeah, so they're always correcting me on these things. But anyhow, I don't like putting anything like that. I don't take supplements usually. But during the winter, yes, I do take vitamin D because in Western New York, we're lacking in it. We are lacking in it. So it's nice to be out here looking at, starlings. I've got a starling here in the tree above me. I'll apologize for the wind here. I'm in an open area close to the road if you didn't notice and you hear the trees. But yeah, it's like get outside, enjoy the spring, bask in that sunlight. Yeah, grab it in, all that vitamin D, all that energy from the sun. It's very relaxing, it's very comforting just to get out and walk in nature. So don't sit there and continue your hibernation or your partial hibernation, whatever you're in. Just get outdoors and start walking. Walk around the neighborhood if you want. Do a 3.5 mile hike like I did yesterday. Whatever you want to do, just get outside and enjoy this beautiful weather. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. I hope you will join me and bring a friend along or two, or three or four, or invite as many friends as you can to the episodes. If you're enjoying them, I'm sure they will too. The more people we can teach about nature, the more people we will get to respect nature and take care of it in that way. I'd like to thank you again for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you next week, and above all, keep exploring the nature around you.
Hello, friends. I hope you're out wandering through nature, exploring the natural world around you. Do you enjoy writing about your wanderings? Nature journaling is an awesome, fun way to remember all the adventures you have taken and how you felt during those journeys. If you're looking for some beautiful journals to keep track of all your wanderings, I have several available on Amazon, including some guided journals for children. Start your journey in journaling by clicking on the link in the show notes. Keep exploring the nature around you and keep journaling all your wanderings.